Gentlemen and 3 ladies, this is going to be my exclusive 30 tier list, even though it's not really a tier list. You'll understand once we get into it. Exclusive 30 is what really cements a character as fully developed. But this game, the exclusive 30 runes, or the red runes, are very, very, very rare. So as such, you have to, unless you are wealthy, independently wealthy, and you can buy all your red runes, you have to be very, very careful where you spend them. Now, I'm going to go to the store and show you. I'm guilty. I will also buy some from, I do believe it is value packs. So down here, scroll down to the bottom. Every once in a while, I'll buy one of these $20 packs to get 30 if I'm close. Otherwise, if you're not spending to get your red runes, you're going to be getting them from events or RNG. So if we go look at the events right now, nothing in there. If you spend $1 a day while details gathering is up, you can now get 30 red runes. For $7 for 30 red runes versus spending 20 bucks to get 30. If you were going to spend, that would be a good one. So you just have to spend $1 to get 60 battle merits to get 3 of these a day. 3 times 7 is 21, which my head is in the way. Will get you 30 red runes right there. Right there, right down there in the bottom corner. So $1 a day, 60 battle merits, 3 of these, 3 times 7, 21. Okay, so if you wanted to spend a little bit, that'd be the best place you can do it. And this event comes around twice a month, so there's 60 possibly from there. You also get some from the daily login. You get 20, so 60 if you're spending $14 a month, plus 20. And plus you can double up on that sometimes. So like I pay a little bit to get a double up every day or every time this pops up. So this is potentially 20, 40. So that is 60 a month. If you're spending, it would be say $16 a day. And if you're not going to spend, if you do not want to spend, or not $16 a day, $16 a month. If you don't want to spend even that, you're going to have to wait for RNG on the Wasteland. I've already completed today, so we can't try. But there is an RNG chance to get 10 red runes every day from the Wasteland. You could get very, very lucky, or you could get skunked for the whole month, because I'd say it's maybe it feels like 1 in 8 to get red runes out of there. And if you're not getting it out of there, I know the Gamuzo's Bell has an RNG chance to get 2 red runes, right? So not a whole lot there. I'm not even going to count that. And then you're going to get some from Summon Arena, but only if you make it really high in Summon Arena. So basically that counts 99% of you out. And the rest of you are probably going to get your red runes from Twilight Lands. You see, even this account, which has not cleared very high, is going to get 75 red runes by the time this event ends. So if you are completely free to play, if you rank really high, let's just say you get 100, right? Because 100 goes down to top 30. Say you get 100, and then you get 20 more from the 30-day login calendar, so you get 120 a month. It takes 300 red runes to get to X30. So we're talking 3 months, possibly, if you're not spending, to get one character to X30. Now, I do believe I've already said that an X30 makes a character fully optimized. You will get the full value, the full brunt, the full power of your character at X30. This is my streaming account that I play casually. You see, even this account has Nord at X30, which we'll get into the list and see where he ranks. But Daniel, I do believe, X30. I think I even got my Ampu X30, my Leo X30, and I think my next one, and I got Maz X30 on this account, and my next one is Panda, right? Why do I pick those characters? Well, now that'll get into the nuts and bolts of this video. So we're going to go over to a little infographic I made. There we go. Okay. Don't mind Emma above my head. She's just there for something so you can look at something other than white empty cells. So this is what I built for my X30 recommendations. Now, Other than a few characters, I'm not going to recommend, or I'm not going to put them in a list for you. So everybody's account is at a different stage. If you're a new account within the last 3 months, you might not even have Nord. So Nord's number 1, by the way. So I go about my X30 tier list a little differently. Now that the game is kind of flushing out, we can see the different teams that are forming. And I think there's going to be characters coming, which are represented by these question marks. So this is how I organized my list. Now, if you have Nord, or if say they give him to us, announce him tomorrow as this Thursday's banner. Nord is the number 1 candidate, regardless of use case. Well, not regardless of use case. He's the number 1 candidate for X30, hands down, given that he is such a high damage dealer and he has such a high level of sustain. It used to be Leo. Leo used to be the hands down, unequivocal number 1 candidate for X30 in the game, but he has been supplanted by Nord, and now Leo is just, he's on the list, but he's not really, I wouldn't tell you to run out and do him right away. So how I got this built is that the game really seems to be pushing teams, and each team has 3 SSS of their class on that team. Now, a newer account, if you're a newer player, what you do need to do is, yes, Nord is always going to be the number 1 priority, but if you're sitting on a bunch of red runes and Nord is a long way off, the game now gives you Daniel in week 2. Daniel is, well, not the linchpin. He is the one of the major damage dealers in the summoner team, and if you are starting out and you are playing the game smart in week 2, you can come out of that with a legendary Dan, and I would recommend putting Genes in him until he's immortal, because he's worth it for all content. So I have Dan down here, and generally all of these heroes that are on the far left are going to be your priorities, because they're going to be kind of what makes the team tick. Although arguably one could say it's Ampu, right? But Ampu, we don't know when his banner is coming back around. I can guarantee you that the vast majority of you watching this have Daniel. You probably have him at X30 already, and if you're a new player that just started recently, you probably have Dan in the works. So Dan, very, very good. I would say, other than Nord and other than healers, Dan is the next, or you could arguably say 2 or 3, since you're going to get Dan before Masrani. Dan is very, very important for a new account. So yes, he is very, very viable for an X30. Now, the reason why I have 2, or the number 2 beside Masrani and Miranda, is because even though he is a launch character, he's an old hero. Masrani is still needed in almost every single team. He is still, I would still put him ahead of Miranda just for healing overall. I think Miranda leans more towards the support versus the healing, and which she does that very, very well. Both of these are X30s, but I would really highly recommend you get Masrani to X30 almost first. I think he was my first X30 on my main account, because you're gonna have him at Legendary as well if you play the game smart in week 4. So it's not gonna take a whole bunch to get him up to Immortal. So pick one. If you have to pick one, I would say pick Masrani. Simply because, again, for the reasons I've already said, he's used everywhere. Everywhere. Before Miranda came out, if you wanted to get Twilight stage 15 down, you needed basically Leo, Dan, Masrani, Ampu, and Sorvali. That's the team. So, my baby account, my free-to-play baby account, I'm just hit stage 15 in Twilight Lands today with an X30 Leo, an X30 Daniel, and an X30 Masrani. So it can definitely be done with just these 3 if you don't have Nord. And my Ampu's X20 and my Sorvali's X20. So I'm going to say Nord number 1, and then Daniel and Masrani interchangeable between 2 and 3, right? So, but if you can't get Nord, pick one of the other ones. Okay. Now, so new players are going to kind of get pushed into summoners, given the changes they've made with Skewer and Hattie now as the recharge reward and as a recurring buy. You can get 2 copies every month in the Battle Pass. The game, and with them putting Daniel in week 2, they seem to be pushing all new players into summoners first, and that's very, very good, because let's think of what we need summoners for. The trio down here, Dan, Ampu, and Sorvali, are key to pushing Twilight Lands to get rewards. They're key for the Crimson Abyss to get all of your leveling materials, and then you have to have them for Mirage Space. I had it down here, right? Needed for high-level Crimson Abyss, Mirage Space, and Twilight Lands. They're probably going to be the most used team in the game for everybody. And you can use them in Guild Hunt Turbine, and you can use them in PvP. You can basically use that team to carry your account until you can start branching out and picking different teams. Now, once you do decide to branch out, you got to kind of pick, because the tank team up here is viable. The hunter team is viable, but I wouldn't start developing the hunter team yet, because I think there's more coming. The hunter team right now is actually Rosaris, Prygor, and Moriami, but Moriami is a summit reward character, very hard to get. Prygor a little bit easier because she's Twilight Lands, but the hunter team is probably the most exclusive team right now if you wanted to build. The assassin team, if you wanted to go assassins, I just put out a video showing how dominant assassins can be. And then vanguards, sorry, I think that vanguards are going to rise back up to the same level as everybody else once we get 2 more, or even 1 more. And my prognosis is we're going to get 1 new vanguard that relies on bleed mechanics, and we're going to want Guan Yu on that team, because, and the reason why I say this is because we've had a new vanguard data mined, and I've had other people confirm that people from the development team of Eternal Evolution have asked people what they think in the, whatever it is, the VIP program. This guy right here, 2 blades on his hands, kind of like Leo. Leo's got the 2 swords, right? Where was I going with this? Where is my EX30 list? So I think we're going to get another, well, I know we're going to get another Vanguard. And if he has bleed mechanics, and keep in mind, or just remember that in this version of Twilight Lands, and let's go show you. I want to show you what. I'm kind of rambling here now, but it makes sense in my head. Where is it? Right here. So they're offering this prototype in Twilight Lands right now. Now, this game likes to lay out Easter eggs. They gave us Rickert on Giant Tower. 2 weeks or a week or 2 weeks later, all of a sudden Dominic drops and assassins are freaking phenomenal. They've done that in the past too, where they've dropped Panda. I think they dropped Panda with Dominic, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later, boom, Wamagon, right? Tank team set. So this is they're throwing this out there, and this is a basically useless prototype when a Vanguard hero inflicts bleed 5 times. The only Vanguard hero that inflicts bleed is Guan Yu, and he's poop. He's not good. So, but I think they can make him good by putting in another Vanguard that has bleed mechanics. So if you want to go Vanguard, I think the team's going to show itself shortly. And then the tank team. Tank team's very good. I was testing it in Arena today. It can. I beat a really good summoner team with just these 3 and 2 healers. And then the energy team, if you can build it, is phenomenal. Like the energy team is one of the top teams in the game. So I'm gonna go right back to the beginning-ish. A long-winded explanation. The game is gonna push you into summoners early. Summoners are good to get you rolling everywhere in this game: PvP, PvE, leveling materials, guild hunt, etc., etc., etc. Then you're gonna want to branch out. When you do, you have to decide. You have to decide which team you want to build, and then which one you want to pour your red runes into. If you want to just throw red runes all over the place and just kind of do a spray and pray, you could just red rune the front character or the far left character in every row. But you probably don't want to do that because Dan is great at EX30, but Ampu is fabulous at EX30, and then these 2 together make the summoner team, when they're both at EX30, make the summoner team roll. Servali, perfectly fine. Her X30 is good, but she's perfectly fine at X20, which is why I kind of had a little, I don't know what I was going with the colors. I was like, yeah, must have. And then yellow, okay, maybe these ones are good in the middle, and then the ones at the far end are like, yeah, they're okay to do the X30, but they're not necessary. Luke and Nordtheon, I'd say, are necessary to make the energy team tick. Luke is going to be good in PvE. Nordtheon's going to be good in PvE. Ravenna, I have her at X30, and I think she's really lackluster in PvP, but she's really good in PvE situations. So okay at X20. But Luke, the front two are pretty much, in my opinion, the ones you want at X30 to get the team rolling. And then you can just leave the last one at X30 or X20, unless you really feel like it, pouring your resources fully into one team. But I don't recommend that. Tank team, really, if we're being honest, Pandemonium is really the only one you need at X30 to get the tank team rolling. Wamagon is also really good at X30, but it's not necessary. And Zeta is just fine at X20. But if you were to take her to X30, it would help in PvP, but not phenomenally. Like, right, that's just going to make her more of a meat shield. Hunter team, at minimum, Rosaris Max has to be X30. You need her for decent caves anyway. Tanks, they tried to make tanks more useful in Crimson, but and I do run a tank. I run Zeta, but she's just fine at X20. Vanguards, Leo, people like to crap on Leo, but Leo is still great at X30. Even though it's X30 itself, the skill doesn't do a whole lot. The added stats, HP, damage reduction, I think attack. Yeah, is it HP, attack? No, it's attack, damage amplification. Or maybe it is HP. I can't remember. Whatever it is. All three stats, really, really good for Leo. So you really get the full effect of Leo at X30. And I said right here, used to be highest priority before Nord. Still good for both PvE and PvP. And I think that the Vanguard team is going to get much better in time. Now, Bailey, another character. A lot of old players are going to have him at X30 anyway, given that he used to be he used to be up there in contention with Leo for number 1. Well, I'd say Leo was always number 1. Number 2, we'll say. Number 2 before Daniel. Okay at X30, definitely not needed. But Rickard, mandatory for X30 because the higher his attack, the more damage the sword souls on your other assassins are going to do, right? So your assassin team, Rickard is the linchpin of that team. You do need him at X30, and I would argue that in a PvP team, if you want to focus on assassins for PvP, I say Dominic also is a mandatory X30. We already talked about summoners to death, and then healers, Masrani, mandatory, no ifs, ands, or buts. Miranda is really good, and she is becoming a key character or a key support / healer for 3 teams, really, for the Hunter team, for the Energy team, and for the Assassin team. So we need 3 of her. As such, I have this question mark here because they should give us at least 1 more of her. Arguably, Bada works well on the tank team. I know you were going to say, hey, what about Bada? She's a triple S healer. Bada works okay on the tank team. You don't need a healer on the summoner team. So really, we just need two more healers to round out to make this many teams, which we might need if Guild vs Guild goes down the way I think it is. So X30s. This is how I prioritize. This is how I want to tell you to prioritize. I want you to do Nord if you can, and then if you can't, make sure you get Daniel and Masrani done, because, again, the Summoner team is going to carry you through PvE content until you can start branching out through all content, PvP, PvE as well. Get Masrani. You can choose. If you want to pick Miranda, fine, but Masrani is a better overall hero for all game modes, not just the niche ones that you need Miranda in. You do need Miranda, at least, I think, Legendary 1, to get her exclusive to 20 for Sincero Marsh X3 and 2. So both of these 2 are needed. And Miranda is stellar at X30. I would definitely put her on the list. It's just when you prioritize her. You might want to come do Masrani, do your key characters and whatever teams you want to build. Come back around to her eventually, but don't forget her. Just build her a little bit over time. You'll eventually get her, and then you can run a couple stellar teams for Galactic Arena and Summon Arena. Wow, okay, 20 minutes. I feel like this did not make any sense. I feel like I just word saladed all over my frickin' camera for the last 20 minutes. But this resource, I just pointed at the screen, this resource is available on my Eternal Evolution spreadsheet that is linked in the description of this video and every video. So if you, hopefully this helps. And I do love that the Eternal Evolution team has... They're clearly building or making viable teams. A whole bunch of viable teams. And I know why. It's because Guild vs. Guild is coming up. Or the finalized version of Guild vs. Guild is coming up in the middle of July. They said mid-year, so June, July. And this game needs many viable teams to make that really work well. Right? Because... what? Tanks can beat a lot. Tanks can beat... they beat Vanguard easily. They're the hard counter to Vanguard for now. They can beat Summoners. They can beat weak... I'd say weak Assassins, weak Hunters, but really Hunters are kind of the hard counter to tanks when they're built. They struggle against Energy as well. Energy is kind of the pinnacle right now. What beats Energy? Assassins beat Energy. If you have the Assassin team built, they will munch the Energy team. So they've created a nice little rock paper scissors. Summoners beat Assassins. I can use my Summoners to beat the highest end Assassin team, as you saw in the video I did on the Assassin PvP team. Summoners beat Vanguards. I'm curious if Summoners will beat Hunters, given that Rosaris has anti-Summoner built into her kit. And I said they struggle, or it's kind of a wash against tanks, and they get hard stomped by Energy. So I really like the direction the team is going, making a whole bunch of teams viable for us to choose from. Whatever if you like super tanky characters, then you can build a tank team. If you like the whole idea of the assassins, the ninjas, the just the straight damage to your throat, then Assassin is the way to go. And I kudos to them for doing that. So, but you have to, if you want them to be viable, you have to focus on them and get at least their key character X30, and then I would recommend even their second character X30 on the team. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap it up there. Please let me know if I rambled incoherently, because I really like your feedback on that, because it's the way I feel. But hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you can use this resource, pass it around. I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Cheers. Peace. Bye-bye.